Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky 194, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come visit and check out my video. And we're here at Suzuka in the Lamborghini Huracan EVO, one of the cars that, one of my favorites. And I'm always trying to improve the car and my driving with it. So the other day I did a setup and was trying to do the hour-long race on the CP server with it, and did was start out decent, trying a new setup, and it just started going away, which is very common with the Huracan. So you really, again, you got to really double check and do a longer stint with it to double check it. And basically, after a few laps, it started going away, and I adjusted some basic stuff like the traction control and brakes and stuff, and it didn't. It helped a little, but it still was basically not good. And basically, I ended up crashing the car out and didn't finish. So I wanted to spend some more time on it, and I think we really got a good setup. And anybody that wants to try the Huracan would probably really like it here at Suzuka. So let's go over the lap, and of course, I'll show the setup and leave a link to the setup in the description. So let's go. I want to show some of the key areas that I drive with the Huracan here. I love the sound of the Huracan and the Audi. They just sound so good. Two cars I'm always constantly trying to work on. And right here is at the 50, and this pavement here is my first brake marker for turn one. And basically, on the brakes, down shift to fourth, and I shoot for the apex here, and then I let it run wide, and then downshift again to second, and basically try to cut in close here, coming off the other turn there. So sometimes you can run a little wider, is fine. And it's okay to run wide through here into the green part, that's okay. And then I run it back out to the right here to try to get a nice angle going into these S's. And now with the Huracan, I try to be a little bit more aggressive through these S's than maybe some other cars. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the best mid-corner cars in ACC. So you want to use that to its advantage and go through these S's and try to be a little bit more aggressive, and instead of just trying to survive. So let's go through here. I get on the curbs pretty aggressively here. You got to watch that one. There's a bump right before the curb if you get on it. And then here, I don't mind getting on this curb, right on top of it or whatever. And basically, I want to do is get on the gas, roll on the gas as soon as I can, and just make sure you're not going to run wide because it'll suck you right off. But basically, so you can get a nice run all the way to the next corner. And then basically, I'm on the brakes right before the 50, and even up to the 50. So that's fine, especially later when the fuel load comes off a little bit. Yeah, I can go right up to it, right up to the 50. And these next two corners, basically, I try to barely touch this one or not even at all, because if you get on it too much, it'll upset the car and it'll make you want to run wide here, and you can get out of bounds, and plus you just lose time. But then the next turn after that, I do want to run over so it doesn't throw you off too wide and you get an out of bounds. Plus, you save time. So the first one I try not to, but the second one I do. That one I barely touched, which is okay, but I try not to hit it. And this one, I more try to run over that so I don't run too wide. And then here, I try to get all on this curb here, even though I wasn't at this time. I do try to get on the curb. And as soon as I'm coming off of it, I'm on the brakes instantly. And you try to stay to the right here a little bit so you can get a nice tight turn in this hairpin. and get on the gas as soon as possible so you can, get a long run to the next corner. And open it up so you can get on the gas. And basically just wide open all the way. And then I'm basically on the brakes as soon as I come up to this pavement here. Some cars you can go right up to the curbing, but the Huracan, I found out it's better if you do it a little earlier and basically just run it through here. You don't want to be going in real hard on the brakes and coming in here, so I do it a little bit early to set this next set of turns up, which is definitely takes some practice. So here, it's like a double left, and it's off camber, so that's what makes it really challenging. And also, to get the best time out of, the best way is to basically be here real close to this curbing. And then if you run it wide, not too wide, but run it out here to this other curbing to the right, and then before the curbing ends, you want to downshift and pull it back in again to the next curbing, and then basically it gives you all the room to where you want to feed the gas in. So basically, if you run it out to the right, you have room to do that. Where if you don't hold it close here, coming to this next coming off of this turn, then you have no room to do that, and you're going to have to be very delicate on the gas, and it kills your whole drive going down that long straightaway. So you want to come in before the end of the curb, downshift, turn in, and hold it as close to the curb as you can, and then start feeding in the gas. Don't be like a light switch and just on off. You want to feed it in, so one, it doesn't upset the car, and two, you can also judge it to where you're not going to run off too wide off the track. I didn't hold it as close as I needed to here, but it wasn't real bad. It could be a little closer than that, but I was still able to hold it to where I just basically got on a little bit on the curbing there. And then it's wide open all the way down. And basically I go right up to the 50, or if not past it a little bit, and I don't even hit the brakes. I basically just downshift into fifth and try to hit this curbing right here on the inside. And then I come up to the 100 and I'm on the brakes again. And again, you want to be really hard on the brakes and aggressive on your downshift so you don't miss the chicane coming up here. So let's go in the car for this next lap. That was a 201.74. Missed the curve that time. That's what I'd rather do. And actually lower over on that one, which is fine. And that one. Again, you want to open this up as soon as you can so you can get on the gas. First, I started out with 80 liters like I do on all my setups now. that was my fast lap at 2:01.52. So let's go to the last lap. So I'm getting ready to start the last lap of the 30 minutes. Very solid. That's what I was looking for when I did that race, but it wasn't that way. It was extremely loose through these S's, and it was just too loose. See, I missed the curbing again, which I actually like doing that. And I had no out of bounds on this run either, which, you know, I've gotten in trouble in the past doing a CP race, you know, running out of bounds and things like that, which you know, you can do so easy with these fast corners. So I had no out of bounds within the 30 minutes, so I really like that. That's kind of an added plus. That's the last lap after the 30 minutes, and that was a 2:01.95. So I was really, really happy with that. So, of course, you can see I had 30 liters left because, like I said, I had 80, started out with 80 liters. So let's go to the garage and look at the timetables. And like I said, I didn't have any outs, and you know, I had some 202s. A lot of 201s. So, you know, I'm really happy with how the car ran, especially, you know, for a race setup. So let's go to the setup itself. And I got 26.4 left front and right front, both left front and right front, 26.4. And the left rear and right rear are both 25.6. The toe on the front is negative 0.02 with the camber at negative 3.7. The caster is at 12.5 on the front. And again, you know, there's things that I had. I mean, the aggressive setup has like 4 on the negative camber, which it's got way too much temperature difference on inside to outside. I checked it, and it's just way out. So I just didn't like that, and I like, especially going through the S's, I like the less negative camber, and I don't like running it more than I need for the fact that the car reacts so much faster when you have less negative camber. I mean, as soon as you're turning, it's turning. It just reacts very quick. Where if you got a whole bunch of, you know, negative camber and you don't need it, you're turning, and the car just seems like it's lazy to turn. So basically, I mean, I know you need to have that, but I mean, I like to run only as much as I have to have. The same thing on the rear. Basically, the toe is 0.06 with the camber at negative 2.8. And again, it was the same way. It was pretty much maxed out on the negative camber on the aggressive. And I mean, the inside and outside temperatures had a big spread. I mean, I think it was in the fast corners, it was like 9 degrees or something, and it was just, way too much. So I closed it up, and it seemed to help a lot with the longevity, and it didn't hurt on performance. Uh, Electronics are 2, 6, and 1. Fuel, I had 80 liters, and you can see I did a few stints and did a few little minor adjustments, and that's why I do these. And I'm really, really happy with this. As you can see, there's no graining, no nothing. Those are the tires that I use for the 30 minutes, and there's a little more wear on the rear than the front, but that's common with the Audi and the Lamborghini. But again, no graining or anything, and I mean that's really good for the Huracan. That's really, really good. So mechanical got 7 on the anti-roll bar. Brake bias is 57. Steering's turned all the way down. The springs on the front were 190,000 with a bump stop rate of 900 and a bump stop range of 5 on the left and 1 on the right. And on the rear, the springs are 173,000 with a bump stop rate of 600 on the left and right, and a bump stop range of 30 on the left and bump stop range of 20 on the right. Anti-roll bar is 5, and the preload on the diff is 60. And basically, a lot of things were different. The bump stop rates were different. The springs were different, a lot different. Anti-roll bar and the preload on the diff. The diff, I had more preload on the diff, which again was nice coming off the corners, but it just through the S's, what happened is when it would start to wear a tire, and then going through the S's, the car would start getting loose after like 3 or 4 laps. So when I did that hour race, I think I had 80 or 90 on this preload on the diff, and it was good in the beginning, like I said, but it just through the S's, I didn't like it after a while. So that's why I knocked it down a little bit so it would not lock up going through those S's and not get loose on you. On the shocks, I got 17, 15, 24, and 22 on the front, and 19, 16, 24, and 26 on the rear. Aero, I have tried 100 different things, but this works really well. Got 56 in the front and 59 in the rear, with a 9 rear wing and a 3 and a 3 in the brake ducts, and the front aero variation is a 0.2. Now, I mean, I went a little faster with about a 0.6 or 7 on the front aero variation, and that was basically with a click less wing. And that's probably what I would try. I mean, if I was going to do a qualifying run, I would probably do 1 click less wing and less fuel, and that's it. I wouldn't do anything else. So it's a real simple to, and you could probably run a 2.0, probably in 2 minutes, a high 2.0, and that's just by running low fuel and just 1 click less wing, and it'd be okay for a few laps. But again, I ran one of the setups. I had 1 click less wing, and maybe 1 click higher on the rear ride height, but it was like 0.6 or 7 front aero variation. And it was, again, I mean, it felt really good for a few laps, but after 3 or 4 laps, the car just was too oversteery, too loose, and just didn't work. So again, I want something that's more consistent and better for a race setup type race stint. So I sure hope that it works good for you, and I hope you enjoy it. And again, I will leave a link in the description. Any comments or feedback are appreciated. And I sure hope you give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and share this to anybody else, since they're free. The setups are free for anybody to try them, to see if you like them. And again, I'm not knocking the aggressive, because a lot of times the aggressive setups are decent. But I mean, and this one was decent too. This one was decent, but it was still much improved over durability and performance, both. So I sure hope that you come back and visit again real soon. Y'all take care. See ya.